Guten Moed, everybody, and welcome to our Nesivos Shalom Shir for Shabbos Chol Hamoed. Tonight is actually Thursday night. At least I think it's Thursday night. A little difficult to keep track, right? When you wake up in the morning, you're not sure exactly what day it is this year. Baruch Hashem, we keep going from Shabbos to Yom Tov and back to Shabbos and back to Yom Tov. And tonight is Thursday night, Chol Hamoed, second night of Chol Hamoed here in Chutz La'aretz, third night of Chol Hamoed in Eretz Yisrael, to those of you who are lucky to be in Eretz Yisrael. And tomorrow night is going to be Shabbos. So the Nesivos Shalom has so many different beautiful messages and lessons about and for Sukkos. So I just thought it would be a good idea, even though Chol Hamoed there's no actual Parshas HaShavua this week. It's a good idea to bring up, we discussed one last week, to bring up another beautiful lesson from the Nesivos Shalom to keep us inspired as we go through this wonderful Yom Tov. And the Pasuk tells us in the Torah about the Daled Minim. The Torah tells us, Ulekachtem lochem bayoim harishon, you should take for yourselves on the first day of Sukkos, Priyei Tzadar, Kapois Tmorim, and Afei Tavois, V'Arvei Nachal, the Arba Minim, and then it ends off over there, Usmachtem Lifnei Hashem Elokeichem, that you should be happy, you should be joyous before Hashem Elokeichem. So if you look at these psukim, it would seem, and you would get the feeling from these psukim that the entire tachlis and the entire reason, the entire mitzvah of Arba Minim, the tachlis of it is to be happy. That we should be happy before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Tells you to take the Daled Minim, and right after that, Usmachtem Lifnei Hashem Elokeichem. Ask the Nesivos Shalom, what is the connection between the Daled Minim? First of all, how does it bring you to Simcha? What does it have to do with Simcha? And why does the Torah put them together, Daled Minim, and then Usmachtem Lifnei Hashem Elokeichem, which we all know it's the essence of the Chag HaSukkos. So what the Torah is telling us over here is that the Arba Minim somehow brings us to Zman Simcha Seinu. It brings us to the Zman of Simcha, which is Sukkos. How does that work? Ask the Nesivos Shalom. So the Nesivos Shalom explains like this. We need to think about and we need to understand what is real Simcha. What is happiness? We know we're in the middle of a Yom Tov now, tremendous mitzvah to be happy. What does it mean for a person? What does it take for a person to be happy? What does happiness really mean? If we want to reach that level and we want to be happy, what does it mean? How do we go about making ourselves happy? So it says in Nesivos Shalom that real happiness is only achieved when a person is able to break free from the mad pursuits that we have of taivos of Olam Hazeh. We, especially in 21st century, everybody really, happiness is associated with the pursuit of things that will quote or supposedly make you happy. Things of taiva, things, we have an illusion of happiness. And as we all know, that we can all, every person, you can chase, you can purchase, you can pursue, you can consume more and more and more in your pursuit of what the world thinks of as happiness, yet a person will never really feel happy or satisfied. Famous Chazal tell us that Ein Adam Yoitze Mizeh Ha'olam, a person does not leave this world after 120 years. V'chatzi ta'avoisav biyadai. When a person leaves this world, after 120 years, you're not even going to reach half the things and taivas and things that you so energetically and anxiously ran after, a person doesn't leave the world even accomplishing to attain half of those things that you've been chasing. A person is never satisfied. You're always on to the next level, to the next purchase, to the next model, right? Especially, God forbid, if your neighbor has something that you think and you perceive as is a little nicer, more luxurious or something than what you have is already way out the window. That doesn't make you, quote, happy anymore. So you're going to keep chasing, to keep going, and we know that you always need more and more and more. And then Nesivos Shalom says, when you can shake free of that, when you are mature enough and you stop that rat race, you stop running around in circles trying to attain all those things, when you get to that point, that is when you reach simcha. There's a great mashal, Nesivos Shalom brings a great mashal about a king. A king becomes ill, he's sick. And he's told by his doctors that, listen, the only way that you're going to get better is that maybe they diagnosed him, maybe that he's a little bit depressed or something. And they said that the only remedy for this king is to find and don and to wear the coat of a totally happy person, a person that has no worries in this world. Now, we all know to find somebody who has absolutely no worries in the world, that is very, very tough. But this is what the king was told. The king was told that if you want to lift yourself up, you want to get out of that rut that you're in, you're going to have to find somebody who is a totally happy person. You take his coat, and somehow you'll get an influence from that coat. You put that on, and you'll be cured from whatever it is that is bothering you. Now, the king sent out all his messengers and all his men and all his people and connections around his provinces and his countries, and obviously to find somebody who has no worries in the world, very, very tough, and it took a long time. But finally, they found somebody who's just the happiest guy. Always had a smile. This guy, he's the happiest person in the world. So they knock on his door, and they say, we're messengers of the king. And this person's like, what, king? Me? I'm just a plain, common person. What would you be doing here? So they told him the story. They said, the king needs the coat of a person, and we were told that you have no worries in the world. You always have a smile on your face. You're always happy. So we need your coat to bring it back to the king so he can just put it on. And you know what the person told them? The person told the messengers of the king that he said, I don't have a coat. Because if I had a coat, then I would be worried about something. I'd be worried. Is it the latest model? What am I going to look like when I get to shul? Does someone have a nicer coat than me? Do I need the 2025, 26, do whatever? There must be something new that everybody's wearing. It's down, it's moose this, it's that, it's Canadian, right? Coats, there's a lot of pressure having a coat. So he says, I don't have a coat. I don't own anything. And without anything, I'm happy. And that's what the person said. So let's think for a moment now. Who are the really happy people that you know today? They're certainly not the wealthiest people. I could tell you every one of us knows people who are extremely, extremely wealthy. It seems like they have everything in the world, but they're really, really not happy. They're not happy people. It's plain to see. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a psychologist. You don't have to be anything. The happiest people you know, I guarantee you, are not the wealthiest people. And that, everybody, says the Nesivos Shalom, that is the message of Sukkos. We leave the house and we go outside and we leave our, quote, luxuries, and trust me, right, compared to our generation's full of luxuries, even things that we take for granted that seem so plain. Go back 1, 2, 3, 4 generations, it was unheard of. And all the conveniences and all the things that we consider luxuries, we go outside And usually, under most circumstances, right, the person's sukkah is much, much more modest. It doesn't have everything. And that, the Torah tells us, that is how we get to Zaman Simchaseinu. And the Torah tells us how we do it. You know how we do it. The Daled Minim represent the different limbs of a person. We all know that the Daled Minim, each one of the Daled Minim is represented by a different limb, a different part of a person's body. The root of our taivas, right? They are represented, the eyes, the heart, the spine, the lips, taivas achila, taivas whatever. We're looking at all four of these things are the taivas and desires of a person, and we take those, the Torah tells us, ulakachtem lochem. You, now, take those daled minim, the things that represent the different four parts of a person's body that pursue and bring in taivas, take those ulakachtem lochem, take it back, take your life back, make it yours, where you're in control, and those things are not controlling you. Take them back for yourself. Get control of yourself, of all those four of the Arba Minim. And then the Torah says, Usmachtem lifnei Hashem Elokeichem. Then, and only then, when you're in control and you're not being controlled by the external things in life, then you have true simcha. And that is the connection in the pasuk. Through taking the daled minim, simcha has a lot to do with the daled minim. Through taking the daled minim, we are finally attaining simcha. And that too was the great simcha also of the Simcha Space Hashayeva, which we celebrate on Sukkot too. The pouring of water represents giving over all of our ahava. Water is represents ahava, and we're saying when we pour out all that water, it belongs to who? It now, all our ahava and things that we want to love and things that we give love to, we're pouring it out, and we're saying this belongs to you, Hashem. And Chazal tell us that anyone who hasn't seen the simcha of the Simchas Beis Hashayeva, you've never really seen simcha, because that's the greatest simcha, to take everything that we have is Hashem. Yes, it's okay to have nice things. We want things too, but Hashem, it revolves around you. We want to give it over to you. We want to use it for Avodas Hashem. And the only way to reach that simcha is to not be busy with pursuing Hana and Ahava and all these things for ourselves. And this is really a great message and a lesson that we can internalize as we're coming close to Shabbos Chol Hamoed, to the Nesivos Shalom. You know what it was? Yontif of Sukkos. And on top of that, Shabbos and Yontif and Sukkot, everything all together. So we take all those lessons and we internalize those lessons. We make it part of us. The lesson of being in touch where real happiness comes from. Who doesn't want to be happy? Everybody wants to be happy. And you know what? We're not going to become a hermit, and we're not going to give up on everything we have in our lives. But at least where we could focus a little bit, when you're sitting in your sukkah on Shabbos Chol Hamoed, focus a little bit. How do I get a little more happiness in my life? How do I just understand a little bit what's important? To prioritize, to focus. The message of Zman Simchaseinu. The Torah is telling us how to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. Let's take this beautiful lesson of Nesivos Shalom, take it with us. Remember, we always say, don't let the Yontif just pass by you and you miss it. Let's celebrate this Shabbos and Yontif together as we do here in our Shir and our Nesivos Shalom, where it becomes part of us, where we're influenced, where we become better people. And Emir Hashem, everybody that learns and listens to this Shir and learns this lesson, you'll start to feel a little bit what is true happiness. Chag Sameach, a good moed to everybody, and I wish you also a beautiful Shabbos Chol Hamoed.